Today is lesson 4 of your English remote learning this week, and it's the second lesson about Mary Seacole. Yesterday you wrote a diary entry about Mary Seacole. Today what I'd like you to do is watch the second part of the video. Perhaps you've already done that. It's attached. You can just click on it within the remote learning and watch that first. It will tell you what happened to Mary next when she arrived at the Crimea and she set up her own hospital there. Once you've watched that video, take some notes as you're watching, and then I'm going to talk you through the next task, which is you're going to be writing a newspaper report, which hopefully you're really good at now because we had a whole week of remote learning which was all about writing news reports. So you've got a lot of the skills already. You're going to write a news report imagining that you are William Russell, who was the reporter from the Times who came to visit Mary Seacole in her hospital. So I'm going to demonstrate how you can go about that now.
Okay, so here are the notes that I made when I listened to the video. I've laid them out in a slightly different way today. I decided I was going to do a bullet point list. I wonder how you laid your notes out. It's up to you, really. So from the video, I learnt that in the Crimea, it was cold and frightening. That friends in London loaned Mary money to build a hospital, which she called the British Hotel. That she had a maid named Sally who helped her to care for the soldiers. That in January 1856 there was a battle that was really nearby, and during this battle Mary and Sally had an unexpected visitor. His name was William Russell and he was a reporter for the Times newspaper in London. I wrote down a quote here from the video because I thought I might use that. I just want a place where soldiers can be safe and warm. And at this point, Mary became known as Mother Seacole. William Russell stayed and watched Mary at work. Mary also said, quote, "A wounded man is a wounded man," and this was when she was questioned about why she was helping the enemy forces as well as her own troops. Then in the video it explained that an area called Sebastopol was won by the British, or they defeated the enemy at Sebastopol, and that Mary decided to march into Sebastopol along with the British troops. She was allowed to do that because she had a letter from the general allowing her access to do that. And as she marched in with the soldiers, the road was lined with the soldiers who were all waving and cheering. And Mary said, "It was the proudest day of my life." So here are my notes. My next job is to turn this information into a news report.
Okay, so here I've got my news template. I've just created this template on the computer because I'm going to type directly into it. But you can just do it on paper, you can draw out your own template, or you can do it on a computer if you have access to one. It doesn't really matter. I just thought it would be fun to type it straight in. So my newspaper is The Times because that was the newspaper that William Russell worked for. I've put my date as the 13th of February 1856. This date here doesn't matter so much. 1856 is important though. That was the year that the newspaper article would have actually been written in. We know that William Russell visited Mary Seacole in January of 1856, which is why I've chosen the newspaper article to be dated for February. I've priced it at 3.5D, which in Victorian times, which is when this was, D meant pence, so it might have been around that amount. I'm not 100% sure. And I've written my headline, "Heroic Nurse Saves Thousands." Now, I'm sure you'll think of a much better, more catchy headline than me. That's just the one I came up with for today. In this box here, I would put a picture, or if I was doing this on paper, I'd draw a picture of Mary Seacole, maybe outside her hospital or tending to a soldier. But I'm not going to do that now because you can do that in your own time. And this little box here is for my caption, which would explain what my picture is showing. The author of this news article is William Russell, not you today, because you are pretending to be him. So I've written that here at the top. Okay, so I'm all set up, I'm ready to start writing. So what I need to do is think back, refer back to my notes that I took, and then think about how to use language to turn this into something that sounds more like a news report. Now, you've done some work on this already with your remote learning, so hopefully it won't be too tricky. But let's have a think. How am I going to start? Now, I'm going to explain who Mary Seacole is, firstly, because my readers may not know that. So I'm going to start with something like this. Born in Jamaica. Now I know her father was white Scottish, so I'm going to say that. Born in Jamaica to a white Scottish father and a black Jamaican mother. Now that sentence isn't finished yet because nothing's happened. I'm just kind of leading up to the main point of my sentence. Born in Jamaica to a white Scottish father and a black Jamaican mother, Mary Seacole is a nurse. And you'll notice I'm writing in the present tense. I'm saying is a nurse rather than was a nurse. And that's because I'm imagining that I am William Russell writing this news article at the time that it's all happening. So it really is happening now. It's in the present tense. Mary Seacole is a nurse. And what else do I want to say? I want to say who has taken it upon herself to practice medicine in the Crimea. And I just want to say something to capture the reader's attention, something like at the most dangerous of times. Now you could assume that your readers would be aware of the war happening in the Crimea at this time, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to imply it by saying at the most dangerous of times. I want to give a little bit more information to my reader now. I'm going to pop up over here into this box and carry on. And I'm going to say Seacole. Sometimes you can refer to people by just their last name in a newspaper article. Paid from her own pocket. That means she paid for it herself. For her own voyage to the Crimea. Seacole paid from her own pocket for her own voyage to the Crimea. Yes, I'm happy with that. Full stop. I just want to say what she has done there, so I'm going to start my sentence with there, comma. She has set up. Now, I'm just going to put a little mark here to show that this is what it's called. The British Hotel. Remember, that was the name of her kind of hospital. The British Hotel. And what do I want to say? What is the British Hotel for? British Hotel caring for sick and injured soldiers. Okay, this is the start of my newspaper article. I'm not going to write the whole thing now. I'm going to let you work on that yourself. From this point, I would, as the reporter, explain a little bit more about what Mary Seacole and her maid Sally do to help soldiers out there. And I would explain the difficulties she faced in setting up her hospital and the fact that people didn't approve or even allow her to go and work in the Crimea as a nurse, but that she heroically and bravely decided to do that regardless of what people thought. So that's where you need to kind of get up to with your news reports. We haven't heard the ending of the story yet, so we don't know exactly what happened later. So you can leave your newspaper report at the point that you visited the hospital as the reporter, or if you want to listen to the final part of Mary's story and include that in your newspaper report, then you are very welcome to do that. So I'm going to leave you now. Feel free to steal borrow a little bit of my opening here if you wish, or you can write it in your own words and then finish your newspaper article by yourself now. Take your time, think about the quality of each of your sentences, and good luck.